When I was a junior in high school, I had a life-changing day. Okay, that's a huge exaggeration. It wasn't life-changing, but it was memorable. A bunch of us guys were hanging out. And have you ever had one of those days that for some reason, you're just super honest? No? Well, I did. And that day, I was extremely open about a girl that I had a crush on. Now, you may be thinking, who cares? Valid question. A couple things. One, I had never told anyone that I had a crush on this girl. Two, I had never had a conversation with this girl. Not one single word. Oh, and one added note. She was cute, and let's just say that I wasn't. It just so happened to be springtime, which meant prom was right around the corner. And one of my friends, Jason, had a brilliant idea that I should ask this girl to prom. And I'm thinking, that escalated fast. I just told you that I have a crush on her, and now you're telling me that I should ask her to prom? I knew that she was out of my league. I knew that I was nobody in her eyes. In my mind, asking her to prom wasn't even a daydream. Until Jason said, I'll give you $10 if you ask her. A couple of other guys thought it was a great idea, and they too pitched in a few dollars, and before long, the pot had grown to $30. Now, I was seriously considering it. Then Jason added, but here's the catch. It has to be the very first conversation you ever have with her. After a lot of convincing, I agreed. I figured it'd be a quick conversation. I'd introduce myself, ask her to prom, she'd say no, I'd make $30. It seemed predictable until I approached her in the hallway. My heart started racing beyond control. I felt like I was 5 years old, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was putting a lot on the line. I was taking a huge risk. Why? Because for the first time, I thought, what if she says yes? I'll move from dork to legendary status. It was 100% all-in, high-risk, high-reward situation. I asked in the most charming way I could, which sadly wasn't very charming at all. Her response? I'll think about it. And just like that, I earned $30. But that no longer mattered, because the situation wasn't resolved. It was still up in the air. I didn't just become a hero, I became caught up in a difficult decision by a girl who had never even met me. High risk, high reward. You're not going to believe this, but in the end, she actually said yes. One of my few shining moments from high school. I took a risk, it paid off. I had a prom date with a girl I've been secretly admiring for months. Now, we've all been there at some point or another. We've all taken a risk, went all in, and just stood there waiting to see if we just made a great move or a really dumb one. And I think when it comes to the area of our faith, the highest risk-reward situations we can put ourselves in is serving somebody else. Maybe you've never thought about it this way before, but when we serve others, we're taking a risk. We're basically saying, I'm going to give you some money or give you some time or treat you this way, and it's going to cost me something. But I'm betting on the hopes that if I give, serve, or treat people in some way, it's going to pay off in another way. We go all in because we believe that there's a reward that makes it worth it. So over the next few weeks, we're going to look at different ways for us to be all in when it comes to the way that we serve others. And we're going to look at what some of those things require of us, and what we have to give and what we can expect to get back. Now, before you freak out and think that we're going to ask you to pack your bag tonight and move to the jungle and become a missionary, you can relax. We're going to start by taking small steps. We're going to begin to see there's a relationship between what you put in and what you get out. And when it comes to serving, going all in, though hard, can be the most rewarding thing that you can do. But there's a problem. There's no shortage of people who are in need of help. Look around at your school, at your neighborhood, the country, or even the world. Everywhere you turn, there are stories of people who are all in need of something. Time, money, resources. And I think most of us want to help, but we don't. So what's stopping us? What's holding us back from taking that risk and going all in? Well, for one, we don't know how to help. I mean, we know there are lots of needs in this world, but we don't know where to start or how to address them. And two, we don't have anything to give. In other words, we don't have a job or a source of income and feel kind of helpless. I mean, what could we give that could actually accomplish anything meaningful? Whether we don't know how to help or don't have the means to help, The problem is the same. We feel powerless. We think even if I try, it probably won't make a difference. Why even bother? But let me ask you this question. What if we're wrong? What if we have more power than we realize? And what if we're choosing not to use that power? What if we're just standing by as others have needs, not because we can't help, but because we're choosing not to? And what if the bigger risk isn't that we try to help and fail, but that we don't ever help and miss the chance to make a difference? If we do something to help, we risk failure. But if we don't do anything, we risk the possibility that no one else will help and others will continue to suffer. Either way, there's a chance that things can go badly. So what do? Which risk do you take? Now, the Bible has a lot to say about giving to those who need help. And today we're going to look at a verse from Proverbs. Now, Proverbs is a collection of wise sayings and principles to live by. And in chapter 3, verse 27, here's what it says. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it when it's within your power to help them. Now, this verse couldn't be more clear. Withholding means to keep something to ourselves that we have the ability to give. And when we make the excuse that we don't know how to help, we're just withholding good. When we make the excuse that we don't have enough money, we're withholding good. If we wonder if it's too big of a risk and that our giving might not pay off, we're just withholding good. And when we withhold good, someone who needs it doesn't get it. Some people go hungry. Some people don't have water. They have nowhere to stay. And some people can't pay their power bill. Not only that, but when we withhold good, we miss out on something too. You see, when we give, something happens inside of us. We realize how much we've been given. We feel a sense of gratitude for all that we have. And for those of us who are Christians, we feel a connection with our Creator. When we give, we get to experience why Jesus said that it's better to give than to receive. The last phrase in this verse always catches my attention. When it's within your power to help. Great advice. Did you know you have power? You have the power to serve in a powerful way. You have the ability to give time, money, or resources. Look, let me tell you a quick story about Jim and his small group of middle school boys. Now, Jim is a great small group leader, and he and some of the dads from his group used to take their boys to the cabin in the mountains to go hike and hang out. One year, while they're there, they saw the nearest town had been devastated by a tornado a few days earlier. These middle school boys were shocked to see the enormous needs that the people had. The one that struck them the most was that so many people didn't even have shoes to wear. In response, these guys were moved to action. They didn't sit around and think, that's sad, but we can't do anything about it. We're middle schoolers. Instead, when they got home, they went right to work. They organized a shoe drive. They got huge cardboard boxes for donations. They made signs. They got the word out. And as a result, they collected hundreds of shoes for the people of that town that had been hit by the tornado. You see, these boys could have easily got stuck on the idea that they didn't have any power to help. And as a result, they would have withheld good from those who deserved it. People who needed help wouldn't have gotten it. And those boys would have never experienced what it feels like to give. So here's the deal. I'm not asking you to go all in today and sell everything you own or donate all your stuff. I'm just asking you to give one thing to help one person. Maybe that means donating a pair of your jeans to a shelter for teenagers. Taking last year's winter coat to your school counselor and asking him or her to pass it to someone who doesn't have one. Cleaning out the canned food in your pantry that no one's going to eat and taking it to a soup kitchen. Dropping the few bucks you plan to use at Starbucks into the offering plate at church. Skipping the movies and giving that money to charity. Giving your allowance back to your parents this month because you know they've been struggling financially. The truth is, there are a lot of things within your power, and within my power, and within our power together. But chances are, we've been withholding good just because we didn't think we had what it would take to accomplish anything worthwhile. You have the power to serve in a powerful way. I want you to think about this question. What's one thing that I could give to help one person? If you can't think of anything, ask someone at your church or one of your parents for ideas. Start this week by giving good away and using your power to meet a need that otherwise would go unlooked.